Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are taking a look at Cloud9 versus TSM match of the week in North America. Reaper versus Weststride. Reaper and Weststride versus Peter Zhang. Double teaming on him. The good stuff. Let's bring up Epic Pen. Syndra blue side ban. Xayah blue side ban. I like a lot. Forcing the Philios ban. Nice. Rumble. Denial towards Niski. Basically NA doing B. NA doing B right here, Niski. NA doing B. Will it last? Maybe it will. Nevertheless, Ornn, ban, Bjergsen, target. Not too sure about this, but maybe they know something I don't. So we are going to let it slide. Bans don't matter that much. Bans don't matter that much. Soraka, out. Okay. Sett, nerfed, 10.3, first pick. Kind of crazy. Honestly. There is, you can make a whole composition that is good against Sett with a bunch of ranged champions, with a bunch of juice. But, of course, if the enemy answer is 10.3 Akali, you know, is this the battle of the nerfed? So, I think Akali top lane is okay. It's definitely okay, but I would never want to pick it over Aatrox right now, over Mordekaiser right now. That is just not enough reason. And then if I try to speculate how the matchup works, I don't know if like Akali E is enough to like dodge W of Sett, and then just, you know, because of the shadow, maybe your trade pattern is really good. Like I can imagine that the lane is good, you know. I can definitely imagine a world where Akali lane is good against Sett. That's for sure. But is Akali useful enough to compensate later on? Because Sett scales pretty well, and unless you snowball pretty extensively, I don't think it's worth it. But I think, you know, Akali is not dead. You know, Akali is definitely not dead. Okay. And then there's Misfortune. With Xayah, Philios out, and Misfortune is definitely up there, but I think the next rotation that C9 did is really juicy, honestly, because Varus Tam Coco lane is super strong. Like people have the concept, like the misconception that Tahm lane is weak, but it's not that weak. Tahm Q is very powerful, and when you can fight for the prio the way Varus and Tam does, then it can get very nasty to lane against us. You can easily look at 6 to one-shot. Tam lane is not as weak as people want to make him out to be. Everyone wants to imagine that Tahm is just, oh, he just eats people. No, there's more to Tahm than that. It is... Tahm Q is very powerful. So yeah, the question, what the hell did our boys in TSM pick? I can't remember. Let's just fast forward. So I think Nautilus is pretty troll though. I don't see the sense of it, because I think your matchup is still losing, and if your matchup is still losing, Tahm Eat is very good for the ult, right? Obviously, there are ways for Nautilus to play the all-in against Tam, but I don't think it's worth it enough, you know? Gragunya lock-in, Elise, Kiana. Let's just finish the draft so we can talk from that point. So we had a Nectar last pick. Oh, they swap fast. Okay. So, Segway ban, Yasuo, Pantheon. It is tricky here. Like I think you have to heavily consider 4th pick Kiana, because Kiana is heavy prior here. Or if you don't want to pick Kiana, just play Lucian here. Like here is Lucian or Tristana. Like Tristana is really good here. Like if they pick Lucian Tristana here, it's really good. And then they just let go of the Kiana, and I think it's fine. It's just here, it's very clear that they want to pick Kiana. Pantheon, Yasuo ban. The problem I have with Renekton pick is, like, sure, you win against Kiana, but you can accomplish the same with better champions. You should, like, here is Lucian game, Tristana game. Right? 100% Lucian Tristana game. And then I think also maybe there's a mistake here in banning AD junglers. Maybe ban AP junglers and then pick Lee here. And then you have better jungler with Akali, and you have better jungler. You can pick AP. No, they're banning AD junglers because they want to play Gragas over Elise, over whatever. Nevertheless, it's not about safety, guys. It's not about like, okay, we need to ban these champions and make sure that our Gragas is safe. No, it's about getting value out of the bans. Sometimes Gragas can definitely play into both Olaf and Lee Sin, but what else can you get, you know? Well, if you summarize the draft, you know, I think bottom matchup much better for C9, favor C9. Top matchup, I think it's too soon. Honestly, it's too soon. But I can see a world where Akali will be useful. I just, like, if I'm playing Akali and my jungler is Gragas, I'm pretty sad, honestly. I think Akali is very reliant on snowballing. She has Pom to stack. She needs to stack Pom. And if you don't stack Pom, you are very weak as a champion. So this, I just think, like, the moment enemy first picks Sett, I think there's so much better ways to punish this, right? You can pick Gnar, you can pick, let's say first rotation right here is Gragas Varus, right? Then the enemy, Gragas Varus, you are very well off. Enemy is going to pick Ezreal. Or you can even go like Gragas Gnar. Let's say you go Gragas Gnar to pick into the Sett, right? It can be very nice. You just pick a composition that is very good at kiting Sett, and that's it. Is like Kayle pretty good versus Sett? I don't like Kayle. I think Kayle is dog shit. This is just too all in, you know. It's just that Renekton, I think, is a piece of shit champion after the Spirit Soldier nerf. It's just he's worse. He's just a worse Pantheon. He's just a shitty Pantheon that doesn't have a global, and that's a problem. How about Vlad instead of Akali? I don't know. Dardoch seems to be the best jungler in NA for the first 5 minutes of the game, and then it just disappears. It's just odd. So here, to summarize the draft, guys, I think Lucian, the most controversial picks here, Lucian Tristana. I think here, if enemy first picks Sett, I think you bring the punish hammer, you know? And this is not punishing at all. Misfortune Prio is weird, and then Nautilus, I'm not picking Nautilus and Varus Tam. I don't think it gives you that much. What about a mage super for TSM Yamato? The thing is, mage supports, like Tamkench has windows to all-in mage supports. Like people try to tell me or try to explain that Braum and Tamkench don't have windows to all-in range supports. That's very wrong. And when you find yourselves in 3v3s against these champions, most of the time you're going to lose. And that is the difficulty, right? It's like definitely you can gain an advantage from level 1 to 5 if you're allowed to push and you're allowed to punish on the turret. Of course you can get some CS advantage, but if there is a moment where enemy, for example, has mid 2v2 prior and they have run to bottom side and you can't punish, you're gonna get heavily outscaled in a lot of cases. And by outscaled, I mean, you know, if a Braum reaches level 6, all of a sudden, you know, the all-in is too powerful. Varus Tamkench, the lane of Tam, is not weak at all. There is something really important to remember is people have the idea that both, like only bad Tamkench is bad in lane. Like Tamkench lane phase is not bad. The power of Q is very strong. This is very, very strong. Okay. And then the Elise Kiana rotation, very obvious with this. Renekton, Gragas, maybe consider AP bans and then look for Lee instead to synergize with Akali. I like this. This I like, and then the rest I don't like. I'm a fan of Varus Tam. I think it's a very strong lane. I'm thinking about Camille mid. No, just Lucian Tristana. Lucian Tristana is by far the best. Lucian Tristana. Blitzcrank is will not have an easy time against Varus Tam. Like for sure, I get the sense of it. Like if you get to push, then Blitzcrank is great, and I think Blitzcrank scaling is pretty decent, honestly. Blitzcrank scaling is not bad because the hook is so much pressure in a fight. I think Blitzcrank could be interesting, yeah. But I think lane wise, you will lose still. Nevertheless, we continue. We got stuck on draft too long. Elise is negative scaling, but the thing is, let me talk. I will take this chance to talk about Elise and Elise because there was a lot of threads with Rush and LS about Elise and Elise. So there are definitely junglers that are very reliant on getting kills. We put them in a very specific basket. I would say Olaf is probably the closest thing that we have in competitive that stretches towards that, right? He needs to get an advantage. Otherwise, he's quite dog shit. And then there are junglers in solo queue that really rely on snowballing, right? There's Rengar, Shaco. Like this is the extreme end of it, because these are champions that do nothing without kills, right? Because all of their inherent value comes from pressuring the enemy through damage, right? Or Master Yi, right? The big underlying difference here in the comparison with Lee Sin and Elise is, even though Elise doesn't get kills, you can use it in a way where you get guaranteed value, right? If I'm playing Elise and let's say my top lane matchup is a matchup that gets shifted very easily, like if my top lane matchup is, let's say Aatrox versus Sett, right? Let's say Aatrox versus Sett, and I use Elise, the pressure of level 3 Elise, and pressure of level 4, 5, 6, and so forth, the pressure of dive, the pressure of everything, and I force the enemy to share creeps under the turret. I use the prior from my top laner to pressure into enemy jungle, and we look to deny the enemy as much as possible because Elise 2v2 is much stronger. Then there is a lot of value there, right? Elise makes other parts of her composition scale better, right? That's the whole idea. If I have a matchup in mid or top that gets shifted very hard and an advantage is good enough to compensate for Elise's weakness, then it's a strong pick. If you don't manage to accomplish something with Elise, which you in most cases should be able to, then you will have an issue. You will have a severe issue, right? But almost in every case, Elise can get value. And it's not reliant on kills at all. It's not reliant on mistakes either. It is reliant on you knowing what the fuck to do, you know? If I pressure the enemy jungler out with Elise with the help of my top laner because I gave him prio because I was level 3 first, and then I stacked the wave and I pressured dive and they shared XP, you know, this is huge already, right? Elise has a lot of tempo. There was a reason why Camille jungle was successful, right? So successful. Because the level 2 power was really, really insane, right? Jarvan as well. Jarvan falls off, but of course he has a useful ultimate, so maybe the conversation is not the same. And then in the context of Lee Sin, the amount of power you have in the 2v2 mid lane is really, really insane. Lee Sin 2v2 mid lane it's the best champion for 2v2 mid lane when you have AP carries. For example, LeBlanc Lee Sin, you have the power to one-shot. And Lee Sin scales good. If you are a good Lee Sin player, Lee Sin scales good. Of course, if you reach a point in time where the enemy AD carry has items, like 6 items, and, you know, obviously Lee Sin is not going to be that great, but there are very few junglers that are. There are even cases where Karthus is not so great when enemy AD carry has 6 items, right? Lee Sin scales depending on how good the player is, right? That's it. If I'm playing, or if any pro player is playing against a really, really good Lee Sin, the presence a Lee Sin has in team fights is really, really high. You need to respect him. These are the type of Lee Sin players that can, you know, ward kick you on command. You know, they can do it with eyes closed. You know, it's like a press of a button for them. You know, and Lee Sin 2v2. And Lee Sin 2v2 is one of the strongest in the game, right? It's one of the absolute strongest in the game. And from that, you can gain value as well. Like if I have 2v2 mid prio and I hover into bottom, if I get 2v2 prio and I hover into bottom, that is going to get me gold value, right? And then through that gold value, I can snowball, right? A snowball is using a gold advantage to create even a bigger gold advantage. So the idea that Lee Sin is is reliant on kills is really wrong. It's really, really wrong. Because if teams utilize both Elise and Lee Sin properly, and you're in a situation where of course you don't get kills because the enemy responds correctly, usually that response is to give up. And if you give up, it means that the enemy can take even more. And there will be a time where you eventually need to fight, right? There is a reason why no one on the planet picks 5 scaling champions and they don't give a shit about the early game or mid game or anything at all. Scaling is very important, but that's not the only part of the game. It's not the only part of the game. Because let's say I have a composition with Elise. I have Elise, and then let's say I have Azir mid lane, and then I have Camille top, okay? Let's say the 2v2 top side is so strong, and then Camille scaling and Azir scaling compensates, right? This is just an example, right? the whole composition doesn't need to scale good. It takes only one champion to make a composition scale good into the enemy composition. If you have one champion that has a good interaction with the enemy team's champions, then all of a sudden you are in a good scaling position, right? You don't need 5 pieces of your entire composition to scale good. There are pieces that will bring you there, right? The whole idea of the AD carry position, right? In the past, it was, oh, we need to reach 3 items and then everything is about the AD carry, right? And then you put these champions around the AD carry that pushes the AD carry in that direction. You see games with the Elise 0-0-0 at 15 minutes and then you see them do nothing for the rest of the game. Of course, I'm with you. There are definitely games that are like that. But there are games where if you execute on Elise properly, if you use it properly, you use it to pressure into the enemy jungle, you play for the matchups that are very explosive, even if the enemy team responds correctly and backs off, and let's say they get a 20 CS disadvantage, at the highest level, that's enough. At the highest level, that's enough. That CS lead is good enough for me to explode it out of proportion. And there are also cases where Elise and Lee Sin are getting 15 kills, and these are also very inaccurate of what Lee Sin and Elise is. So there is a sentiment, right, behind the whole idea of these champions, they are getting kills because people are making mistakes, for sure. But even in a perfect environment, a perfect play environment, the scenarios where Elise and Lee Sin need to be picked, the scenarios where Elise and Lee Sin need to be picked is, of course, Elise needs to have something to play for. There needs to be some kind of explosive matchup that she can shift in the favor of that matchup, right? If you are picking Elise and you're just gone, there are scenarios where Elise is a bad pick. There are scenarios where Elise is getting 15 kills and is completely inaccurate of anything. Shogim, imagine thinking 15 Magic Pen early game is bad. Like, what are you saying? Like, Ellis' point about YamatoCannon is completely true. This is like Morello is not a slot efficient item. Like, it's not gold efficient enough unless Grievous Wound actually gives you good value. And right now in the current meta, there is a lot of scenarios where it gives you value, right? I think you're completely misrepresenting Ellis's argument. Leandri 100% better than Morello. Not 100%, that's not true. Elise definitely got nerfed in 10.3, yes. But Lee Sin, when you play against a good Lee Sin scales good. The kind of Lee Sin player that can, as easy as you and I push one button, that is, that is it, And Lee Sin on 10.3, Lee Sin also has good clear. Like, Lee Sin has good clear speed. Like, Lee Sin clears jungle well. There are better, Shyvana, Karthus, whatever. There are better, but there are also a lot worse. Like, Lee Sin, 10.3 changes were perfect for Lee Sin. He's very happy. So I hope this concludes the discussion of Elise and Lee Sin, and for sure, Karthus is a strong jungler. Right now, Karthus is a strong jungler. Very strong. Gragas is amazing as well. Gragas is amazing. Gragas has very little weaknesses, right? Elise is a big commitment into the early game. But let's say there's a scenario where Elise is on one side and Gragas is on the other side. Very rarely is this what decides if a composition scales better or not. So if we compare the two champions, Gragas, Predator, level 3, very strong. Elise, Tempo, level 3, 4, 5, stronger, right? After level 6, Gragas shifts and, he has a good matchup into Elise after that, right? So Elise needs to get value early, right? If she doesn't get value early, then it's worse. But then, Elise allows you to draft things that might be weaker early, right? Elise gives you the opportunity to draft something that doesn't do so well early game. Let's say a Camille. Let's say you play a Camille, right? It could be even a Kiara. Kiara lane phase is not so strong. But all of a sudden, when the enemy has an Elise, you need to think differently about it. And maybe that pressure is good enough for Kiana to reach the point of strength, right? Elise has some of the best dives in the game. That doesn't change in a game, right? That is always the case. It is all about, the situation Elise is put in. Elise can make her buddies can make her buddies go through. So here, Elise Kiana gets locked in, right? Honestly, this draft is not a good example because I think both drafts are pretty like insane in terms of what you're allowed to do. Like Sett first pick is crazy to me, man. On 10.3. On 10.2 maybe. But I feel like we've found the solution to Sett, right? If we look at global gameplay, we found the solution to Sett. But then Akali locking into it is kind of strange. So you're looking at this, is it flex or what? What's going on here, right? If Elise is stronger level 3 to 5, then why pick her if you can counter her by manipulating correctly the ways to avoid ganks? Well, did you are mind controlling the enemy or what? So keep in mind that the solution of you can manipulate your wave, this is not concluding the situation that both sides play perfectly. Because the argument of both sides playing perfectly, it needs to apply both ways. And just because, sure, you can say that you can manage your waves in a way where Elise is not going to be able to gank, but the same thing can be said for the person that lanes against him. Oh, I can manage my wave in a way where I will set up Elise to pressure. So there are scenarios, for example, if you played J-Stop, in the past, then 100% from 1 to 4, you controlled the wave completely, and you had the opportunity to manage the wave, right? Yeah, you could manage the wave, and there are some matchups where you have full dominance and full control of what the wave does, right? But it's very matchup reliant, right? And the timing of Elise level 3, there are some champions that cannot avoid it, right? And then you have to think differently about how you play it. There are ways to beat Elise. Don't get me wrong. There are definitely ways to beat Elise. Elise, I don't think is broken, right? But there is a very important context that we need to apply when we are discussing Elise. And we need to be fair about both sides of the argument. With cheat recalls, you beat Elise. Well, that's once again, right? If I have Elise jungle, no way in hell, if my Elise is pathing into me, I will ever let the enemy crash the wave. No way in hell. So the counter to that could be, oh, maybe I get level 2 ganked by the enemy Jarv. That could be dangerous, right? If you manage to push in the cannon, then in a lot of cases you are safe against Elise, right? But let's say you pushing like a maniac gives, let's say you're playing a matchup where you need to snowball. Let's say you're playing a matchup where, let's say you play a matchup where pushing in is wrong, right? There's a lot of detail to it. Elise, bad in some cases, good in some cases. To summarize the conversation, to scale bad champion is the wrong idea completely. There are some cases where Elise can bridge you the gap for other champions to reach the point of winning, right? However, some champs like GP, if played right, can almost always cheat a recall. No, it's not true. And the conversation of Lee Sin is just, I think Lee Sin is OP because the 2v2 mid is so powerful. 2v2 mid is so powerful. Not in this case, right? There's Renekton and Kiana. Cheat recall is you push in third wave with cannon and then you base, or you base before cannon. Basically, early it's hard to push in the wave. Like, there are very few bot lanes that can push in a full cannon wave. You can do it maybe on 330, or you can do it on first cannon, and it's just difficult for people to push in, right? So Lee is just, teamfight presence of Lee is very high. Keep in mind, what is late game? We need to have that conversation too. What is late game? Late game, in my eyes, is the point where Nashor becomes relevant. So some team compositions, 20 minutes, Nash is on, late game to me, right? Because it changes the nature of the game. One side of the map is inherently more valuable, and the split pusher becomes more and more relevant. Meaning that he's more isolated, and the isolated matchup means more and more, right? So you say to use Elise, strong early jungle, as a catalyst for the snowballing lanes. Yes. So Norse 0523, a lot of these points you made, I can assure you that in pro play, no one gives a shit about this. The points you made, like, oh, we're going to pick up a teamfight champion, no one ever thinks like this. The denial part of what you said, this is something that comes to mind, for sure. Like, if I lock in Sett and I know the enemy is going to pick Akali into it, then, Pepe guy, I'm happy. I'm out, thank you for the stream. Okay, bye-bye. As a premature. How about denying a comfort pick? Yeah, that's fair. But honestly, if I'm locking in Sett and I predict the enemy will send Akali into me, then do it every time. But if this is not the case, then I think it's just bad. Nevertheless, let's get to the mother flipping game. LS fanboys taking over. I don't think, I don't envy the situation. So I don't envy the situation that anyone is in when there's so much of them talking publicly, I'm sure a lot of people could go and choose everything of what I said in streams in the past and be like, oh, look at this, he said this, what a monkey, for sure. So that's why, when I refer to some of these points, I don't want to bring up LS's name because it's unfair. He's not here, and at the same time, these are most of the questions that I'm getting, I have nothing against LS, or I don't want to argue with him, or I don't want to get into a beef with him, because, if we sit down and we comb through everything that we've ever said, we're going to, it's going to be a disaster, He's having a lot of success. I'm happy for him. He's doing good, Let's leave it at that, you know. This is, for me, it was important to talk about Elise and get my opinion out there. As there's no way in shape or form I want to create any kind of animosity. What do you think about the early game of this new meta? Is it actually worth to pick early comps? Well, I think it's important to find balance. Like there is, honestly, this thing that I'm wearing is so fucking warm, man. I'm sweating my balls off, man. Like it's like one of these oversized fucking hoodies, you know. Look at me. Look at this. It's so fucking sweaty, man. Give me 1 second. All right. Boom. Okay, let's begin. So this game. All right, guys. This game, we can summarize it very fast because. Look at the top of his head. Ooh. Okay, let's remove this crap. Boom. Oops. Okay. No more sweaty balls. No more sweaty balls. Hey Amaro, played with you last night. Really well played by you on Lee. Sad we got into too much by the Sona Swain bot. I assume you were the Aurelia. Rough game indeed. Okay. So here is a good example, right? Like Renekton was a garbage pick. I'm not a believer of the Akali. I don't know. It's just weird. A lot of things are weird about this. Nevertheless, here was Exhibit A of Elise Tempo doing something good for Qiyana lane, right? Here he burned Flash, has the TP back, blah blah blah. And then here is an example of Elise inting you. Because he's just not paying attention, and Bjergsen TPing back honestly puts him in a pretty big advantage because Niski needs the base and they need to get help from Tamkench or something. Because if we look at C9's, what is the correct decision from C9 is definitely to find a way where Qiyana actually gets a base, and I think the only feasible way is to either use Sett or Tamkench, which is very, very hard at this point in the game. It's very early to find something like this. So even after the gank on Bjergsen, the TP back hurts C9 tempo here because they chased, like honestly they just chased Renekton for too long. Like they chased him to space. They want to really, really burn his flash, but look at the mid wave right now. Dangerous. Like if you chase this, you need to kill him. The thing is, Renekton is a shit pick because there are picks that can do exactly what Renekton did or does in terms of winning a lane and also scale a lot better into the enemy team composition. Right? So this matchup looks like if this is the outcome of the top lane matchup, you know, where Sett is getting slow pushed into his own turret and Yeah. So obviously, Blaber could have walked away. He could have walked away right here. Dalda with the smite. And then I think Blaber tunnel vision a bit too hard here. Maybe he needs to actually compete with the smite because it's very important. And it's just the overcommitment here. There's no ignite on Niski as well. It's very important. And also he's like, in order for Niski to get into range of this is a flash. And then there's another flash. So in a lot of cases, this game should be over now. In most cases, the game should be over now. Why should it be over? Because we mentioned before that Qiyana's lane is in kind of an awkward position. From this position, the game should be lost. From this position, Qiyana should never, like, she should never get a single CS again. But here is the problem. Here is the problem, guys. The problem is, so the way you want to play it is TSM want to freeze the wave. So right now, Renekton can, like even now, it's slow pushing, right? It's slow pushing into Renek. Freeze the wave, re-gank Qiyana over and over. No summoner at all. 2v2 is just giga boom. Renekton is basing now. We get a replay. At this point, I think the Kindle gem buy was pretty troll as well, honestly. This is, I think, just go double longsword, man. Just, I think you put Qiyana in one-shot range if you go for this. And then here, just freeze. Just freeze. Look to freeze. Look to freeze. Deny him over and over. Deny him over and over. But instead, I think TSM, the thought process is that they are trying to contain Niski because he is, you know, Niski likes to roam a lot. But in this position, they are safe. I think with Gragas hovering into bottom side, they can easily deny wave after wave. And then build a monster wave. Build a big wave. Build a monster wave. And you legit, while you're building a wave with Renekton, the beauty of building a wave with Renekton is you're stacking your rage at the same time, right? You're not using your spells. And then you one-shot. W of Renekton into E of Gragas is a one-shot. You just need to snowball this somehow. Freeze wave, build big wave, dive. One smack. Boom. Qiyana needs to catch. Elise needs to show up. The moment Elise shows up and Qiyana and Elise are sharing minions under the turret because they cannot fight 2v2, you won. From that point, you spread the pressure. But here I felt like TSM, they kind of panic because they are afraid of Niski diving side and they are just shoving in the waves because they find comfort and seeing Qiyana for a little moment. But it's a mistake. Because after this Elise and Qiyana start, they should not be able to recover. But what happens is that the wave gets managed wrong. Because here, there is not a stacking of wave. Renekton pushed into full wave. We saw 3 range creeps crash into the turret, so the wave reset once again. And then here, the continuation. Renekton once again just shoved in the wave. No consideration at all about diving or anything. If you just need to be able to stack a big wave, stack your rage on it, and then just kill him. But instead, Niski gets to farm the wave under the turret, and he's even in CS somehow with Renekton. It's ridiculous. And Blaber is legit here with this, with the way he takes Drake. He's spitting on TSM, man. Spitting on TSM. Legit spitting. Here, I think there needs to be consideration of diving Sett as well. Broken Blade is committing to the Sett all-in. Here Licorice no TP. Because here, look. What's this? What happened here? Akali didn't push in the wave. And Gragas is on this side. Elise just took Drake. And they are not pressuring Sett. I think here if the Sett burns flash, I think it's time to pressure. What Akali is giving up, because Gragas is doing golems and Renekton is just chilling on mid, pushing waves. Honestly, like a lot of the games where I see C9 playing is the enemy team is doing mostly nothing, and then C9 are doing good moves and they're getting big advantages off of it, you know? Isn't 10.3 Akali kind of trash? I think it's okay. Like, he just burned flash 1v1. Early levels looked hard. I think it's very reliant on presence of mind stacks, and I think if you don't get them, it's harder for you. So I don't like Gragas Akali too much. This is good, freeze the wave. Sett didn't push on time. I thought Sett would be able to push on time. And there's a big convenience with Blaber that he always has somewhere to play through, because Sven and Vulcan have been stomping every bot lane they've been in the entire freaking season. The entire freaking season long, and they are just monster, man. Vulcan and Sven are giga smurfing. But here now we're in this game state where the flashes are coming up both for Niski and for Bjergsen. And it's so let's see if Bjergsen actually cues this wave. Oh, he cued the wave. So he's playing for dopamine instead of freezing the wave and accomplishing something, because there needs to be a thought process behind why you're pushing the wave. And I think that the thought process is too small when the thought process is only I want to make sure Qiyana shows up. Because even now here there could be a potential threat for a dive, but there's a severe lack of coordination here with Dardoch and Bjergsen, and the way Bjergsen manages the wave. And then here, like, Sven and Vulcan, they are... and then here, I think Kobe should have been dead. Sven just needs to keep walking while he's ulting. And I think he shouldn't charge his Q that long. He should just play on passive. Here Kobe is dead because Kobe is playing it wrong. But yeah, this is Gragas. So I remember the story. Joko told me this story. Joko told me this story about playing with what's his name? Hashani. So Joko played with Hashani, and he told me that Hashani kept giving him anxiety. Like, it was really, really hard because he kept giving him anxiety in game. And then Joko, at one point, first time Ivan in a scrim, you know? Joko first timed Ivan. And he was putting down bushes. And then, you know, Hashani doesn't have the best English, but he has some English competency, some English competence, right? And then, because Joko put down bushes that were like good for the enemy, Hashani for the rest of the game just calls him Enemy Ivan, Enemy Ivan, 6v4, Enemy Ivan. It's just, for me, that's hilarious. And whenever I see someone play like Dardoch just did, Enemy Gragas. Enemy Gragas. Not Hashinshin. Hashani. Enemy Gragas. But here as well, honestly, like Koba has cleanse, and I think he doesn't realize that he's rooted. But I think also Kobe shouldn't ult, honestly. Like, I don't think... Like, here... We are saying enemy Gragas, but I think enemy Misfortune. I'm sorry, Casper, cover up, but honestly, you entered this really hard. Because Gragas ult is not bad. Like, look at Tahm Kench's position. But MF just needs to cleanse and start hitting him, you know? Because right now, Misfortune cannot cancel her ult because she's rooted. And she's just standing there. And if we look at Kobe Pro View, he's trying to cancel it, but he's rooted. So, like MF is rooted and he's trying really. I'm sure if we look at Pro, he's like clicking, you know, it's clicking. And to be fair here, I think he has cleanse though. He's not, yeah, but AD carries don't know how to press cleanse, a lot of them. Let's be honest. Yeah. So here, Bifrost, 1 XP away. The thing is, like, they still have heal and they still have E. So if they don't Gragas ult here, I think Tahm Kench lives. Going on Tahm is always troll in my eyes. The Varus still has flash. Like here, like this is I think this is Kova's fault, honestly. I think this is Kova's fault. The Gragas ult is not bad. And then also, like here, Kova needs to kill the minion. Guys, you don't know how Tahm Kench works or what? If Varus eats the hook, then he will eat. Here, Kobe needs to kill the creep. Here he needs to kill the creep, so Bifrost can actually ult the Varus through the hook. So you can knock both. And then honestly here, just the Varus ult from God or what? The Varus ult is on Gragas and then it connects with everyone else too. I think you just don't Tahm ult, I mean you don't MF ult, you auto and you hit, you proc press the attack, right? Because that's what you're playing press the attack. And then you ult when he's out of range, which I think he won't be, you know? And then here I think Zen can actually kill if he just taps Q and walks forward and actually hits and commits all the way. I think Kobe just doesn't realize here he's rooted. So this is Giga Troll. I don't think you need MFR. I think Thomas is dead. And then here, this was pretty close. Some mean machine here. Some good stuff from Niski. Considering the matchup he's in, looking for roams like this, letting Elise catch is very good. It's not like Renekton is doing anything else but just pushing in waves. Yeah. The wave management was really off. Like, if you pick something like Renekton and you don't play with jungle and you don't play to dive Kiana and actually snowball, after you get the best start in the world, then, you know, you're not gonna have a good time. And then C9 after this play on bottom, like, even if Niski dies 1-for-1, like, TSM cannot catch the wave on bottom, and the wave is now slow pushing Sven into TP top is humongous. Like, C9 have a very good eye of what they need to do next, and TSM are very late to this. Broken Blade already used 1 stack of ult, and boom. What did 300 damage there to Renekton? Is that just the Q of Varus with 3 stacks? What does 300 damage here? I think TSM just have very little team play. I don't think they know how to coordinate, you know. WQ, okay. W with active Q, okay. Cool. And look at the bottom wave. Like it's just the small things for C9 is working so well. Because they managed to trade a 1-for-1, but then the butterfly effect is so much bigger than that. Sven had TP, they saw the clear play here, they TP'd onto the Rift Herald, had better tempo, they're taking a fight where if you take a look, here we have 4 ex C9 members, while Nautilus and Gragas are very Varos Q doesn't crit right, but it counts as a crit when W is like the crit sign also happens when damage is amplified, like Rise Q when a target is E'd, right? So there's definitely there's that. So here the C9 are just taking good fights. They are analyzing their tempo. They keep track of tempo. They see their position. Kobe now dying after cleansing and flashing on bot, and now honestly after this the game is over. As ridiculous as it might sound, Varos and Tamkench are too far ahead. Don't be confused about the gold differential here. The problem here for TSM is the fact that Sven is 1000 gold or 800 gold ahead. And then here, this wasn't too shabby, honestly, from TSM. They found a tempo swing, and this is definitely one of the better fights, but here, enemy Gragas. This is definitely enemy Gragas. 100% enemy Gragas. Because this was a good play from TSM, considering the tempo. After that wave stacked on bot, even though C9 managed to win the situation, they had to back off because they were too low after the fight. And then TSM had the better wave position because bottom pushed in all the way, and they had to go for it. Why do you think people are not punishing blind pick Tam and Varos with champs like Zyra? Well, Zyra, her difficulty is that, you know, her difficulty is that there's a lot of champions in the meta that have a very easy time catching her, and her all-in fighting power is also difficult to deal with. In a lot of cases, you need a support as well to face check bushes, which is something that is very underrated. I know that you can put plants and shit, but the issue with Zyra is that the all-in fights early on, like if you manage to burn her flash, or you manage to find a way to disrupt her at all through a sacrifice of the jungle or mid lane or top lane, then it's very hard for her to come back. Because a Tamkench with, for example, Glacial Augment and Hex Flash is going to be able to all-in a Zyra. I think a lot of people think the Tamkench lane is super weak, but it isn't. The Q is very powerful, and she can definitely find ways. Where would you rank Licorice amongst LEC top laners? I think LEC top laners are honestly quite good. It's very hard for me to rate LCS players individually in comparison to others, because I'm not gonna sit and look at everyone's pro view. I just don't. But Licorice in LCS is definitely monster good, because he's always like 20 CS ahead and always at the right place, and honestly makes the enemy top lane look kind of bad. Tam Q is really OP, guys. Like Tamkench Q is really OP. Look at this. Boom, boom, boom. Look at this. Look at the slow percentage, man. It's crazy high. And the damage is really high too. 50 mana, 5 cooldown. Like this is a very powerful spell. Finn is also pretty good. I feel like Finn and Licorice are very similar as players. Okay, let's take a look at this. Finn makes more mistakes, I feel. I think in Europe, mistakes are way more forced. I think C9 are kind of... C9 are playing well, but I think they're also at the same time allowed to do whatever the fuck they want. And the only worry I have with C9 is they will receive quite the reality check when they play against good teams again. You know? That's what you need to keep in mind. Dandan is also really good. Bwipo, honestly, I rate him quite low right now. I don't think he's been too great, and the cocktail is not paying off right now. But let's go back to this game. Like, we've been approaching 1 hour, and this game should have been like one of the shortest games ever. We've been talking about in this game specifically. Okay. So here, C9, the fact that they're even fighting this is nuts. And the fact that it's working is even more nuts. Because now it's Giga over. That was just go next, man. It is insanely over. Like right now, C9 is just spitting on TSM. Spitting on them, man. Spitting on them. Like literally, like really, really deep, you know, really deep into the throat. Spitting on them. Because realistically, C9 should not contest this, but enemy Gragas. Enemy Gragas, guys. Let's hear what the casters say. Do any casters say enemy Gragas?
Actually pulled off so effectively. Let's take another look at it, because as you can see on the bottom of your screen, this is 4v5. That's why it's not a full...
No enemy Gragas.
And they just kind of poke down Broken Blade. They force him out. They don't actually overchase.
No enemy Gragas, guys.
Pick them apart.
The spitting metaphor of yours is really gross. Okay, I will stop. I felt like it was a bit gross. I will stop. Sorry. Wait, they said Tom sidestep? Tom sidestep the ult. They didn't comment on a single Gragas ult. That is rough. Next deck, 2 minutes. Rift Herald onto the bottom lane. Niski in position. So what's the idea of keeping Renekton in the mid lane? The lane assignment here for TSM is quite iffy. But here, C9 have no control over rivers. They are taking control of river first. They want to save Niski. They are off tempo here. TSM have better tempo here. But then after Sett comes into mid lane, everything is gone and they gain nothing out of it. Like they use Herald on bottom and it's meaningless. Vulcan in position to eat. Nom 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 nom. Sett is 40 CS ahead, not because Broken Blade played worse, it's just because of the wave situation from before. The wave state was very bad. And then here, Dardock is sniffing the zombie ward back and forth. Look at him sniffing the zombie ward. Oh, look at these zombie wards I'm walking over, man. Look, he walked over a zombie ward. You know, I appreciate the effort though. They are diving 14 minutes too late. they're just after the 2-0. You should pressure the Kiana. Now Varus is too humongous. Okay, okay, English majors. Okay. Because this is like the worst case scenario, you know? It's like you invest your men into bottom side and then Kiana gets a kill. I think this key has shown patience. Holy shit, man. Oof. So this fight was nasty. So we have let's spot the issues. Find 5 wrongs. Okay? Find 5 wrongs. No vision. Yes. No vision. They should have put another pink word. Yes. BB deep pushing mid. Yes. Nice, guys. Nice. Akali mid, yeah. We need a 4th. What's 4th? No lane prio. Nice. And then there's the last one. Flank is open. Yes. Woo! Yes. Woo! We won, guys. We won the game. We did it? Whoa! Poggers! Yes! Okay. How will it play out? Let's put it in slow motion. Boom, 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 boom. You know, sometimes you can see in the movement of the players. You can see in the movement of the players that they're like, fuck this. What am I doing here? Okay, so let's analyze the movement of TSM players. They all know that this is shit. All of them, they're like, fuck this. They all know this is bad. They all know this is bad. The oh fuck shuffle. Yeah. It's like, you know, when you have a guy in your solo queue team, they're like, let's do the Drake. We're like, no, this is not good. Let's do the Drake, man. They're like pinging. They're like pinging, you know, they're going all in. And then look at this. Licorice. RKO out of nowhere. The flash was terrible from Koba. Enemy Gragas. Oh. Oh. Enemy Gragas. Oh man. Enemy Gragas. I fucking love Enemy Gragas. This is my favorite meme. Okay. What was anyone thinking? Yeah, like this is all terrible. Like, where is Flash, Kobe? Flash over the wall, bro. Where are you flashing, man? Come on, Kobe. TSM curse. Is the TSM curse, guys. Yamato, please, I had a customer. Maybe he was a robber and I scared him away with enemy Gragas. Like, yeah, this flash was honestly really troll. If he flashes, Sett just follows. I don't know, this flashing in E range. Maybe keep flash for late game then. Okay. Oh, 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 oh. Casper. Come on, Casper. Oh. Okay, let's speed up this bad boy. Bomba Cloud. Actually, I probably shouldn't say Bomba Cloud. I have no idea what it means. What's worse? Enemy Gragas or 010 Yasuo? I think Enemy Gragas is worse. Team Super Mold. Yes. Okay. Akali pick was probably not a problem. Why would TSM pick MF into Sett then? Well, most AD carries, if Sett comes and he's in melee with you, it's going to be bad. Trust. You can take that to church. Unless your name is Ezreal. Okay, let's see how you finish this. Okay, let's see what happens here. The Tam Coco ultimate. Renekton on the split push duty on the wave that's already slow pushing. This is a tilt push right here, man. Why are AD carry picks so limited this year? They are always limited because it's just very, very clear which AD carries are the most OP always. Very clear. They are struggling to achieve balance. There's always like 2 AD carries that are by far the best. Last year, Zaya, Kaiser, Ezreal. Okay, let's take a look at this fight. One more enemy Gragas in the bank, guys. One more enemy Gragas in the bank. Okay. The Red Bull power play. Okay. Nice, C9. 7-0. 7-0. This is 10.3. Holy. Jack Nicholson. Very nice, C9. Very cool.